This is Miss Rodriguez. I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be your new math teacher, Silent Excitement. I'm so excited to work with you until the end of the year. And today we're going to start off by working on 100 math word problems. Say, whoa. What we're going to do is we're going to work on them together. So I'm going to ask you to get some paper out. And if you figure them all out, I'm going to give you this awesome smelly stickers and I'm going to send them in the mail for you guys. Say, whoa. So we're going to begin. Let's go.
Hi scholars, it's Miss Cupp. I hope you enjoyed our little April Fool's joke. I actually will be teaching you guys math today. Super excited to dive into some math. While it is April Fool's, we still have math to learn, so let's rock and roll. Reminder that if you haven't watched the routines video so that you can know what the expression for the over-under question will be, go ahead and pause this video right now and make sure that you watch that routines video, which is always what we're going to be doing first. Get excited because we have some fun routines up our sleeves. So if you've watched that routines video, go ahead and make sure that you have your scrap paper ready. I'm going to show that I too am going to get mine set up. Today is April 1st, as we know. So I'm going to write April 1st, if my pencil wants to work with me. April 1st, 2020. Writing at the top of my paper, drawing my line. I've already folded my paper, but as a reminder, we fold it like a hot dog in math class. And I'm going to draw my line down the middle. Remember, when we stay nice and organized, our brain stays nice and organized. So now that we have our paper set up, we can give ourselves a little check. So say it in your funniest voice. This is my funny voice. Ready? Check. Whatever voice you want to do, we're going to change it up today. And now we're watching the video. So go ahead and make sure we get that guided practice document open. Go ahead and make sure that you've typed your name in. Remember, first and last, and what campus you go to. Click whichever one you go to, either Hadley or Maryville. Now, if we watch the routines video, you saw that number sentence. And if you think that the number sentence that I showed you was over 400, was more than 400, I want you to go ahead and click over. If you think it was under 400, think it was less than 400, go ahead and click under. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds. Reminder, we got to be watching that routines video in order to answer our first question. Going to give you about 20 more seconds to be thinking about that answer and going ahead and clicking the answer. About 10 more seconds. Awesome. Super excited to see what we got. Alrighty, so today we're going to actually be combining what we worked on Monday and Tuesday. And we're going to actually combine those skills today with some super spicy CGI problems. So in the previous couple of days, I've always modeled one first, but I want you guys to actually show me what you know. And I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do this first problem. Then I'm going to demonstrate about 3 different strategies that you could have used to solve it. You'll notice with these, mathematicians can come up with a ton of different strategies. No one strategy might be better than the other, but we are looking to move to those more efficient strategies. So making sure that you show at least 2 strategies during this time. So I'm going to read it to you, and then you'll see that timer come up. In this case, before spring break, I decided to order a bunch of notebooks because I wanted to do a writing activity. So when I was getting the notebooks, they all came in different sized boxes. So my first box that I unpacked was 126 notebooks. So I got 126 notebooks out of that first box. The second notebook, I unpacked 183 notebooks. So that box is a little bit bigger. And then on the third box, I unpacked 242 notebooks. So I want to know, how many notebooks did I actually order to do this writing project with the whole school? How many notebooks did I order for this magical writing project that I was going to do? Before we're actually going to get started with this problem, I want you to think to yourself, based on the story problem, what operation, we know operations are the things like multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. What operation do you think you're going to be using in this story? And how do you know? Meaning with 30 seconds, like think in your brain. What operation do you think we're going to use in this story? I want to make sure that we understand what operation we're using before we get started. You have about 20 more seconds. If you think you know and you think you have it locked and loaded in your brain, I want you to just draw a little margin note of the correct operation that you think it is. About 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you wrote that we are going to be using addition, so if you wrote an addition sign on your paper, go ahead and give yourself a little heart. Yes, we're going to be using addition for this. I know that good mathematicians know that we're using addition for this problem because in this problem, I am adding together all of the different amounts in each box. Buffy apparently agrees if you hear her meowing in the background. We're adding together the amounts of notebooks in each box in order to figure out the total amount of notebooks that we have. So I'm not taking anything away. I'm not breaking anything into equal groups. I'm not adding multiple groups of the same number. In this one, I'm taking the quantities, the amounts that I see there, and I'm going to add them all together. I can't wait to see how many notebooks you think that I ordered all together. So in a second, you're going to see a 6-minute timer pop up. In that 6 minutes, I would like you to answer this question here. Also, write your answer in expanded form. So you're going to break the number apart and tell me the value of each digit. And then also give me the number sentence that matches the story. If you finish all 3 that I just highlighted in blue during that time, I want you to go back to your story problem and show me at least 2. So 2 or more, I'm going to draw the plus sign, 2 or more strategies in that time. So your 6-minute timer will come up in 1 second. All right, the 6-minute timer is up. Go ahead and get started. I can't wait to see all the different strategies you come up with. We're about just over halfway done. Reminder, if you haven't already, go ahead and make sure you type in your answer, what your answer is in expanded form, and the number sentence that matches your story. If you've done those things, I should be seeing more than one strategy on your paper. Just under 24 seconds left. About 20 more seconds. Alrighty, pencils down in 3, 2, and 1. All right, can't wait to see some of the strategies you came up with. Okay, so the first thing that I did was I made sure that I wrote the number sentence that I thought matched the story, because for me, it always helps to try to write that first. So since I knew I was combining all of the boxes, all the notebooks in each box, I wrote 126 plus 183 plus 242 equals N for notebooks. This were all the notebooks in box 1, in box 2, in box 3. So I know that I have to add them all together to get the total, to get that total. Awesome. So the first strategy I used, really excited to see some other friends probably did this as well, since it's a strategy we've been talking about for the past 2 days. The first strategy that I actually used, just take my glasses off real quick, was the picture strategy. So what I did was I represented each of the values in my number sentence as its value in blocks. So for 126, I wrote my 100 blocks, my 2 tens, my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones. So I did that for each number. Then what I did, since I know we've been working on place value and it's super useful to be breaking numbers apart into their place value, what I did was I counted how many I had in each place value. So how many I had in my ones, my tens, and my hundreds. I did it in that order because I know sometimes I might have more than 10 ones, which means I would have to bring that 10 over into my tens place. So I did it in that order. You could do it in the other way. I just like to do it that way. So what I did was first I counted all my ones. So I'm going to do it in the pen so you can be seeing me do it at the same time. So first I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I circled all my ones to let me know that all together those were 11 ones. So all of those ones have a value of 11. Then I went and I actually counted my tens. And because I know I made that mistake with labeling yesterday, I was double careful to make sure I labeled correctly today. So I labeled 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Then I knew I had to go 110, 120, 130, 140. So because I have those 14 10 sticks, I know I have 140 from my 10 sticks. So I circled that and I wrote 140 underneath. Then I went and I counted in my hundreds place. So I went and I counted, I had 100, 200, 300, 400 blocks. Not 400 blocks, but the value of 400 in my blocks. A way I double checked this actually was I was like, okay, hold on. I know if I have 400s, that means I should have 4 hundreds blocks. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4. It worked out. So then over here, I wrote 400. Then I know that I have to add all those together. So I went and I wrote a number sentence down here. I wrote 400 plus 140 plus 11. Some of us might be able to do that in our head. Good on you. I broke it apart. So first I did the 140 plus 11. I know that 40 plus 11 is 51 because I can break my 11 apart into the 10 and 1. So because 40 plus 11 is 51, I know 140 plus 11 is 151. Then I added my 151. I added the 400 left over from here to get a total of 551. Thumbs up if you also got 551. Give yourself a nice little self high five. We love that. But I know good mathematicians always check their work. So another strategy I did was I actually broke it apart into number sentences. So what I did was I started with 126. And for me, just adding the next value, 183, was a little bit tricky. Say a little bit tricky. For some of you, might not have been, but for me it was. So I decided to break it up. So first I broke it up. I just added the value from the ones place. So I added 3. So I did 126 plus 3 equals 129. Now I know I'm trying to add, as a reminder, that next value that we were trying to add is 183. So I broke my 80 in that tens place up into chunks that were easier for me to add. So I did 129 plus 50 equals 179. And then I know that sometimes it's really tricky for me when I'm like adding over the 100. So I decided to break it up again, break up the remaining tens that I had. So I did 179 plus 20 equals 199. I know I needed to add 10 more since I'm trying to get to 83 since I added 50, 20. So I need to add 10 more. So I did 199 plus 10 equals 209. And then to 209, I just had to add the 100 to get to 183. So again, what I did here was I essentially did 126 plus 183. I just broke the 183 up into numbers that were a little bit easier for me to add. But I almost got so excited that I was done there, but I was like, oh, not done yet. Say not done yet. Yep, you're absolutely right. I wasn't done. I needed to still add the 242 notebooks from the third box. So I took that 309 and I kind of did the same thing. I couldn't just add 309 plus 242 in my head. If you could, good on you. For me, I chose to break it up. For this one, I chose to chunk it in its place values. So I did 309 plus the 2 ones from 242 equals 311. 311 plus the 4 tens, the 40, equals 351. 351 plus the 200s in the hundreds place equals 551. So again, essentially what I did here was I did 309 plus 242 notebooks from the third box. And then I just broke up 242 here. And I got 551. Since that matched my same answer from up here, I went ahead and I gave myself a big check. If you have a second strategy, go ahead and give yourself a big check. Something that I also like to do when I do my break apart strategy is I make sure I can find all the numbers for my number sentence. So since I knew my original number sentence to match the story was 126 plus 183 plus 242, I made sure that those numbers were there. So I had the 126 here. I knew this was my broken apart 183, gave myself a check mark there. And I know that I added my 242 here, like we just talked about, so I gave myself a check mark. So I knew that all the parts of my number sentence were all together in there. Now, a final strategy that I tried, this one's a little bit more advanced. Since we've been talking about expanded form, I went ahead and I broke each of those values. Sorry, trying to get it where you can see it. I went ahead and broke up each of these values, or each of the numbers in the number sentence, into their expanded form. So first I did 100 plus 20 plus 6, because that's the expanded form of 126. Then I did 100 plus 80 plus 3, because that's the expanded form of 183. And then I did 200 plus 40 plus 2, because that's the expanded form of 242. This strategy is essentially what I did over here with my picture strategy, I'll make that a little bit bigger so that you guys can actually see. So this strategy over here is essentially what I did in my picture strategy, just in number sentence form. So what I did is I just added the place values. So first here, I added all my ones together, and I did 6 plus 3, which I knew was 9. And then I was like, okay, 9. I have 2 more to add, 10, right? And then 11. So then underneath that place, I wrote 11, because from my ones, I got 11. Then I added up all my 10s. What I did here was I knew, 20 plus 80, that's like 2 plus 8 being 10. So 2 10s plus 8 10s is 10 10s, which is 100, plus 40 to get to 140. Just like I added all my 10s up here, I just did it with number sentences this time. Then I added up all my hundreds from the expanded form. 100 plus 100 is 200. 200 plus 200 is 400 to get here, which again is exactly like what I did over here with my blocks. And then, just like I did before, I just added these values together. This time though, because I really wanted to double check my work, I added them in a different order. So this time I added 400 plus 140, and I got 540, because I know 400 plus 100 is 500 in my hundreds place. When I looked at my tens place, I had 0 tens plus 4 tens, 40, 0 plus 0 my ones, still 0 ones. Then I went and I added the 11, 540 plus 11, I still got 551. So that right there is 3 different strategies that we can be using when we're solving the problems today. So just to double check, make sure that when you came over here, you typed that we had 551 notebooks. For the expanded form, double checking. Miss Cupp was so excited she almost forgot to write this down. 551, I know that this is 500 plus 50, the value of that middle 5 is 50, plus 1. Just double checking that expanded form, since we saw in that third strategy, we can actually be using expanding form to even solve. So I'm going to type 500 plus 50 plus 1. Making sure that to get that plus sign, you're hitting the shift and then the button next to your backspace. And then the number sentence to match the story. My 126 notebooks in my first box, plus my 183 notebooks in my second box, plus my 242 notebooks in my third box, equals, at that point, to match the story, we didn't know the answer, so I'm just going to say N. Okay, way to go us, because we just rocked that. Here's a little pat on the back. It's time for our second problem. All right, for this one, just like before, I'm actually going to read it twice, because I want you to think, what is different about this story problem that's going to make the operation we use might be either different or the same. So I want you to think, what is similar about this? What might be a little bit different? Okay, cool. So I'm going to read it twice before we talk a little bit about the similarities and differences. So in this story problem right here is where I'm reading. Really hard to kind of draw a star there, but that was my best effort. Miss Ami, my friend from Hadley, she had 187 pages in a notebook. For math class, she used 59 of those pages. For science class, she used 36 pages. How many pages does Ami have left in her notebook? One more time. When I read it the second time, I really want you to think, what is similar to the first problem we worked on and what is different? So again, Ami had 187 pages in a notebook. In math class, I don't know what we were doing in math, but apparently a lot, she used 59 of those pages. And then in science class, she used 36 pages. How many pages does Ami have left in her notebook? So I'd like you to do, what do you think is similar? What do you think is different? I'm going to give you about 40 seconds. I want you to jot down, what do you think might be similar? So go ahead and draw your line under your work for this problem. What is the same? What is different? Go ahead and give you those 40 seconds. I'm going to hide my screen a little bit here so you can't see what I decide to write. About 20 more seconds. You're just jotting down as a stop and jot. What do you think is the same? What do you think is different? Ten more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Maybe like me, something you identified as being the same, I just wrote same equals like I would in ELA for an annotation. Maybe something you thought that was the same was like, okay, in this case, I'm using multiple amounts. Like I'm seeing different numbers in here. So similar to the first problem, I'm going to be using different amounts. What I'm really hoping you picked up on is this difference. So if you got this difference down, or even if you were thinking in your head, go ahead and give yourself a little pat on the back. The big difference I really wanted you to notice was that in this case, I'm using subtraction. Sorry, my handwriting is not the neatest there. But in this case, I'm using subtraction, not addition like I did in the first story problem. I know that I'm going to use subtraction for this because I know when you use something that's like when you don't have it anymore, right? Like if you use chocolate chips to bake cookies, you don't have those chocolate chips to then go snack on, right? They're in the cookies. They've been used. Same thing. Ami had 187 pages in that notebook, but then she used some of them up in each of these two classes. So she's taking away. She's taking away. So that means we have to subtract those away. I can't wait to see how many pages that Ami has left in this magical notebook that she has. So again, you're going to see a 6-minute timer pop up. In those 6 minutes, just like you did before, you are going to be solving. I'm going to do it in pink this time because I like that color. You're going to be solving these 3 questions. Same sort of things that we just did. Solve the story problem, write that answer in expanded form, and then make sure that you type in at some point the number sentence that matches the story. For this one, any of the strategies that you used in our subtraction lesson yesterday are totally fair game. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. My challenge to you is if you finish these 3 questions in those 6 minutes, see if you can somehow maybe use either the picture strategy or the expanded form strategy to check your work. All right, my friends, happy solving. And your timer has begun. Don't forget that good mathematicians always check their work with at least 2 strategies. So if you're like me and maybe you just finished one strategy, go ahead and use another one. I apparently just used up one of my pencils, so I'm switching pencils. If, like me, you're also about to run out of room, no big deal. Just go ahead and flip your paper. Just under a minute left, making sure that you answered those questions and solved it with at least one strategy. All right, so just a little over 30 seconds. If you already solved, if you look at my picture, you can see a quick sneak peek of Buffy apparently trying to double check my work for me. Sorry, about 20 more seconds. Buffy says, "You can do it, guys." They got 8 more seconds, Miss Buff. Let me go that way. And that is our time. Wow. So I know this one was a little bit different since we were using subtraction, but I can't wait to see the strategies we showed. So the first strategy, I'm going to move my video back up. The first strategy that I actually used to solve this problem was after I drew the number sentence to match the problem, which I know was 187, take away the pages that she used for math class, so take away 59. Take away the pages that she used for science class, so take away 36, equals P. So we get 187 minus 59 minus 36 equals P. And actually, I want to get us out of the habit of saying minus, like you just noticed even me doing. I want us to always read the subtraction as take away. So this sign, when we read it, we always read it as take away. We read it as, we read it as take away to really remind us that when we're subtracting, we're taking away those things. We don't have them anymore. So our number should be smaller. Because if we're taking away, we don't have it, our number, our amount is smaller. So the first thing that I did in my first strategy, love a good picture strategy, was I drew the total. So I drew the 100. Then I drew my 8 10 sticks, and I drew my 7 ones. And the first thing that I did was I tried to take away the 59. So first I tried to take away actually my 5 tens from 59. So I know there's a 5 in the tens place. So I came over to my 10 sticks and I went 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's why you'll see me label under here that I took away 50. Then I said, okay, now it's time to take away those 9 ones. So I went over to my ones and I went 1, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. I couldn't take away the 9 ones, but I'm a smart VCP scholar. So I just went over and I was like, wait a second, I can regroup. I can regroup. So I'm going to keep the same value, but just change the units. So I came over and I took this 10 stick and I broke it apart into the 10 ones that I know are in 10. And I took away my 58, 59 here. So there's where I took away 59. Now, I knew I had to take away another 36 pages because that's how many pages she used in science. So here what I did is I actually started with the ones because I noticed I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left over. And I know 8 is more than 6, so I knew I wasn't going to have to regroup. So I came over here and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get those 6 ones away. And then I came over and I tried to take my tens away. I know I needed to take 3 tens away since there's a 3 in the tens place of 36. So I went 10, 20, and I realized I was out of tens. But I'm a smarty pants and I know that actually there are, wait, how many tens are in 100? If you said 10 tens, go ahead and give yourself a little pat on the back, maybe yourself a little hair flick, no big deal. You got that. So I broke apart my 100 into the 10 sticks that I know it's in. Once I broke it apart into those 10 sticks, I knew that I could take away one of them because I knew I already did 10, 20, and then I took away to get 30. So right here was where I took away 30, and then I already taken away the 36, so there were my 36. Now, I know I've already done a lot of math, but we're not done yet. So I have to add up how many I have left over, right? So I had the 2 ones here, then I had these 10 sticks here. And when I counted those, I saw that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sticks, which I also labeled down here as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So I knew that 90 plus 2 equals 92. What do you notice about the math that I had to do here? Does it kind of answer another question that we had? If you were like, oh my gosh, ding, 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 that's the expanded form of 92, go ahead and kiss your brain, you smarty pants. Absolutely. So super cool. We can think smarter, not harder. For this problem, for expanded form, I already did the work. That's why it's super awesome to show your work like this. So now I know that I can type in here, not with my pen, with my mouse. The answer was she has 92 pages left, and the expanded form of that is 90 plus 2. We know that good mathematicians always check their work. So some other strategies that I want to show you quick and fast. I'll flip it over because it ran out. So something else I was thinking, I was like, okay, I know that sometimes I can like make errors when I'm taking away the 59 and the 36 and all these groups, right? So I thought to myself, when I took away the 59 pages and the 36 pages, I was taking away the combined amounts there. So what I did was I wrote the number sentence to match the story again, and I thought about it like this. I thought about, okay, this is how much I'm taking away from 187. This is the pages that she started with, and this is what we're taking away. These are the pages she used. So I thought about this. Wouldn't it be easier to take away like one number from 187? Maybe I might make fewer mistakes. So I thought about it. Okay, if I'm taking away 59 and then taking away 36, I'm taking away a total of how many pages? So to figure out the total of how many pages I took away, I added 59 plus 36 because I want to know the total amount to take away. And so that total sign indicated to me I needed to add these values together. So even though my story problem is subtracting, I can be using addition to help me solve maybe in a more efficient way. So what I did was I found the total amount that I was taking away. So I combined how many pages she used in math to how many pages she used in science to figure out how many total pages she used. So I found out that if you add 59 plus 36, I broke it apart into ones. 9 plus 6 equals 15. Then the tens, 50 plus 30 equals 80. I added these. Turns out she actually used between math and science 95 pages. So then I kind of rethought about my number sentence, and I was like, wait a second. Ami started with 187 pages, and then she used a total of 95 pages. So I was going to check if I took away 95 from 187, do I still get the same answer? Which I should. Let's double check that. So I did the same thing where I wrote out in blocks because I like to be able to cross things out for me. It makes sense in my brain. And I thought to myself, okay, so she'd taken away 95. So first, since I had 7 ones, I knew I wasn't going to have to regroup in my ones place since I'm only taking away 5. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got the 5 out of 95. And then I needed to take 9 tens away because I'm removing 95. She used a total of 95 pages. I got to take those 90 pages away. So I went 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Well, I'm going to have to regroup because I don't have the 9, 10, 6 to take away. I got to break my 100 apart. So I broke my 100 apart into how many 10 sticks are in 100? Yep, 100. There are 10 sticks in 100. So I wrote my 10 sticks, and then I took away that 90. So again, because I know she used a total of 95 pages between math and science, I'm just taking away 95 in one big number as opposed to taking away the 59, then taking away the 36. You'll notice the first time we did this, we had to regroup quite a few times, right? Sorry, making sure my dot cam's working with me here. Make this a little bit bigger, honestly. So the first time we did this, right, I had to regroup quite a few times. So the advantage of doing the second strategy that I'm doing is now I only had to regroup once. So back to my strategy. So here, let's see if we got the same answer. So here, once I took away that total 95 pages she used in the classes, I had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 in my tens place. And then my 2 ones left over. 90 plus 2 is indeed still 92. So again, I didn't do anything super duper different. Like I wasn't changing any numbers. I was just thinking for this strategy, I was thinking, okay, how can I think smarter, not harder? So I found the total amount we took away. And then by adding these 2 values, even though you see subtraction here, because this is the total amount we took away, I found how much that all together was. That way I only had to take away 1 number instead of taking away the 59 and then the 36. Now, we can also do this in number sentences. So similar to when we were doing the strategies for the boxes with me unloading the notebooks, I just decided to break this apart. So for this strategy, I'm going to go quick and fast. 187. Well, first I decided, basically what I did first here was 187 minus 59. But because that's really hard to do in my brain, like some of you who might be math superstars can do that in your brain, I chose to break 59 up. The first thing I did was I looked at the 1, and I saw 187. If I take away 7 here, I can get that down to the nice friendly number of 180. Once I got down to 180, I went ahead and I took away the 50 from 59. I went ahead and I took away the 50 because I thought about that, like 180 is 18 tens minus 5 tens for 50 equals 13 tens or 130. Another way to think about this is if I look at my tens place, I have an 8 in my tens place here. I have a 5 in my tens place here. I don't change my hundreds or my ones because I have zeros in my ones place. 8 minus 5 is 3, so there's a 3 in my tens place. 100 stays the same, the 0, 1 stay the same. Lots of different ways to think about things. Then, because I knew I hadn't taken away 59 yet, I'd only taken away the 7 ones and the 5 times or the 50. I knew I still had to take away 2 more, and I needed to take away a total of 9 ones. So I did 130 minus 2 to get to 128. So I knew that at this point I had done 187, take away 59. I gave myself a little check. For the next one, I basically did 128, take away the 36, that second part of my story problem. But again, really hard for me to just do that in my brain, so I broke it apart. First, I looked at my ones places and I thought, okay, I can just take away the 6 ones from 36 because 6 is less than 8. I'm not going to need to regroup, just like I didn't need to regroup when I did it in the picture strategy. So I did 128, take away 6 equals 122, because 8 minus 6 equals 2 in the ones place. And then I don't touch the other tens place because I don't have anything in the tens or the hundreds place. For 6, it's just 6 ones. So I leave my tens and hundreds alone. Then I came over and I thought to myself, 122. So I noticed on my tens place, I only have 2 tens. I only have 2 tens in my tens place. I'm a smart mathematician, so I know I have more than 2 tens in 122. But I decided to take away 20 from 122 to get to 102, because I know sometimes when I change over the 100, that gets a little tricky in my brain. So this way, I could use my counting strategy down. I knew once I got to 102, I still needed to take away 10, because I needed to take away a total of 36, right? At this point, I'd only taken away 26. I need to take away another 10 to get to 36. So what I did here, because again, sometimes counting over the hundreds is a little tricky, was I thought to myself, okay, so I have 102. I need to take away 10. So what I did was I did 102, 101, 100. I know 1 less than 100 is 99. So then I went 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92. So we can still be using our finger counting strategies if that's still something we need to do. And I knew that I had 92 left. So those are 3 different strategies you can use. All right, scholars, great job showing all that hard work solving this problem. Do double check that you've gone ahead and written the number sentence that matches the story as well. Reminder, that was 187. See if you can type it even maybe faster than I can. So it was 187. Then Ami took away 59 because she used the pages. Then she took away 36 because she used more pages, and equaled P because we're doing the number sentence that matched the story, not your work. Just double check that. All right, my friends, I'm so proud of all the hard work that we showed today using some new strategies and building on the knowledge that we did on Monday and Tuesday to be solving story problems that have more than one part, more than one part. So today we saw an example with addition and with subtraction. On your independent practice that you're going to complete after this, you're going to see very similar problems. Reminder to always think about, before you start solving, think. Am I going to be using addition? Am I going to be using subtraction? What am I going to be doing here? And what in the story makes you think that? We saw today that by thinking about, okay, if I'm using what operation, what I'm using, can help me solve more efficiently. Really quickly though, I do want to be checking our expanded form knowledge. Like we mentioned yesterday, some of the 4th graders are working on expanded form into the thousands. Say, whoa, I know. But I was like, my 3rd graders can handle that too. So quick and fast, I want to know, how do I write 1,000? Why you see the comma there, because it's 1,764 in expanded form. I'm going to cover up my scratch paper so you can't see me solve it. But then let's see who's got it. All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I think we can do it. Ready? Go. Oh, I wonder who's going to beat me. All right, my pencil's down. So if you put your pencil down before me, you beat me. But you do have about 10 more seconds. What is the expanded form of 1,764? All right, ready for the big reveal? Drum roll, please. Got to adjust my screen up. Here we go. If you wrote 1,000, making sure your comma is actually in between your 1 and your 3 zeros, because we know that there are 10 hundreds in 1,000. 1,000 plus 700. 7 is in my hundreds place. Plus 60, because 60 is in my tens place. Plus 4. Sorry, I have a little scribble off to the side because I made a little bit of a silly mistake. So 1,764 in expanded form 1,000 plus 700 plus 60 plus 4. If you got that right, go ahead and give yourself a nice pat on the back. Like I said, scholars, again, so proud of all the hard work that we've shown today. We were given a lot of different strategies that we can be using to think about these problems. While you're doing your independent practice, if you want to go back and click into this video to get some inspiration, or, ooh, I don't know, look at your scratch paper from the guided practice. Remember, that's why we write our work down, so that we can be making sure we're thinking smarter, not harder, and using this as a reference. Go ahead and use some of the strategies that we practiced today to solve. If some of those questions on your independent practice are proving to be a little tricky, no big deal. Go ahead and head to those office hours with Mr. Cody and Miss Hendricks, which we know are from that. Going back to our classroom over here. Maybe I'll give myself the special mouse, yep. Which we know are from right here from 2:30 to 4 p.m. You can also always ask your parents for help on this, because our independent practice means we're doing it by ourselves, but it's still okay to ask for help. This is different from if you ever see me, if I ever want you to do something completely by yourself, I'll let you know. This one we're trying by ourselves, but if we need some help, go ahead and head to those office hours and go ahead or ask some help, or ask for some help. Not a big deal if we need it. Office hours are a great time. Again, my friends, so proud of all the hard work that we did today with our addition and subtraction with different groups. Can't wait to see all the hard work that you show on your independent practice. Happy solving!